We do budget a certain dollar amount for education expenses. That's
So
a number.
This is strictly for bachelor's degree.
Yes.
It doesn't say anything about a conference or anything like that.
Conference, we do have line items for conferences and trainings and seminars.
If you look at the budget.
I understand
Right,
that.
this is-
Here, this isn't for conferences. This is for somebody to go get their bachelor's degree after they've been here for 2 years.
Right.
Do we have anybody who's taking advantage of that
Certainly.
program?
Yes, we do.
Because that's a rather large dollar figure.
It can be, yes. There's some instances, there's maybe one, sometimes there's none, sometimes there's two. But there's no more than usually 2 or 3 people at a time taking any kind of courses.
And is there anything?
Where does it show in the budget?
There's a line item for,
Is it in each department?
no, it's a one line item. Now, each individual, if I go to a conference, if I go to Ohio Association of Public Treasurers Conference, I have a line item for training conference. If the police chief goes to a special class, it's that line item. But we also have a line item in the budget for this. It's not in it's not in the finance budget, it's not in the building department budget. It's in general fund.
General fund.
779 general services.
David, you had a question?
No, I'm
Oh.
looking at it.
And I kind of guess at that number on a year-end basis only because I never know who's going to.
Looking for ways to cut costs and not trying to nitpick over a 0.3% increase in the non-collective bargaining. If we're going to have a program like this, we should put something in there that limits it to a state school instead of a private institution where tuition is higher. And then I think that we should require, instead of paying for somebody's class if they just get a C, I think there ought to be a graduated scale there. You get 75% if you get a C, 85% if you get a B, and 100% if you get an A. I mean, if you're paying for it, you should pay for performance.
David?
I hear what you're saying. I totally disagree on that. First of all, not all schools provide the openness, whether they're public or private, that the educational programming our staff or our workers would need. For instance, Ursuline has a fantastic program that caters particularly to women because they understand the needs of women. We may have a number of women that work for the administration who are maybe single parents, and Ursuline has worked tremendously with women. They have a history of that. That's one thing. In terms of grades, we're fighting grade inflation. There's no way that anybody can tell me that an A in that class is the same as a B in that class, and it's the same as a C in that class. And to tie that into something that is totally arbitrary, that is the worker has nothing to do, it's folly, is not correct, it doesn't. And I think I got 16 years of experience to talk about what goes on in the classroom and grading and the difficulty it is, and the capriciousness, the subjectivity, the lack of objectivity in many of those cases, and to put that in there on the worker doesn't go.
Then I say we line out section 14A completely and not pay for it. If we can't justify the dollar value, then eliminate it.
We're talking about education to improve the status of our workers. You want an educated workforce. You want a workforce that has an opportunity to improve their life. To say that to discontinue educational benefits, again, I go back to my word, it's pound, penny wise, pound foolish. But it makes no sense. We want our workers to be the best trained, the best educated out there. We're not asking them to get masters. We're not asking them to get doctorates. We're saying bachelor's degrees. My understanding from the finance directors, a few people use it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The return in terms of you've got a worker who is committed to coming in, to making sure he or she does their job appropriately. Because they're getting a benefit. Yeah, they're going to benefit themselves. They're going to educate themselves. They're going to be a better trained